Hey, what's going on, brother?
All right, young brother, what's happening? How you doing, young man?
Um, Man up Monday.
It is.
So I said, let me make sure I get you on this Man Up Monday. I keep on missing you on these Man Up Mondays.
Let's do this man up Monday.
How you doing today? And I hear you blocked in jail, huh?
They they blocked the account or locked the account, whatever in the hell. I can see when somebody likes something, it still shows up. So they can still look at the stuff. I'm just locked out. And instead of doing what they wanted me to do, which is you can be unblocked or locked or whatever in the hell the term is, if you just take down this tweet. I just appealed it. I just said I think this is the First Amendment. This is a news article that's available all over the world, put out by a reputable newspaper from a Taiwanese ally of the United States, and you block it. So why can you see it in Berlin, Paris, Moscow, Rome, London, but you can't see it in the United States of America because all of you people are colluding? It's not the salacious part of what this Hunter Biden was doing, but the very fact that he had so much sensitive material with his crackhead ass on that laptop, and everybody gets to see it in the whole damn world, but the American public is having it censored by unofficial sources.
Well, let me shout that out right quick. Audience, the website to find that is GTV News. Yeah, GTV News, whatever.
And
So
you sent it to me, and
yeah, that's right.
I just posted the link with a comment. The thing speaks for itself, colon, and put it
G
up there.
News,
So they blocked
G
me.
News, gnews.org is another site, and you can watch. You can pull the emails up yourself. You can see the porn, the numbers by Hillary Clinton, and all that. It's right on the website. You can look it up. And as a matter of fact, even a agreement by Obama and Hunter Biden to sell China for the U.S. to China for $1 billion
No,
to
no,
raise.
no. That wasn't selling. Let me explain what it is. It's a
Okay,
real critical thing. It's got to do with the naval presence of the United States in the South China Sea. They've got these little islands that pop up off the coast of China. China claims them. And then they say we've got a 200-mile circular or radius of territorial waters. So within those territorial waters, other little atolls, they might not be but 50 feet by 100 feet. And then they claim 200 miles around that. And then there's another two or three. When they keep doing the radius, they take up all of the territorial waters for South Korea, basically Western Japan, and the Philippines. So obviously, you're not going to have a situation where Chinese national waters extend inside to the wharves of a U.S. naval base in the Philippines. So the U.S. has, of course, contested it. What the deal is for a $1 billion bribe to be paid through this company that Hunter Biden worked for, which is the same one in the Ukraine, but it's in China. Barack Obama was to get 10%. Joe Biden was to get 10%. Uh, Hunter Biden was supposed to get 10%. And 10% of $1 billion is $100 million. That's a bunch of ducats. So this guy is in trouble with the Chinese government because apparently there was going to be an unofficial kickback to him. And it's a communist country. You just don't rip off the party of the people. So he's in danger of getting put on a firing squad, in front of a firing squad. And then the ones that are pushing it, the CCP, they represent the Chinese government in exile in Taiwan. And what the message is your American politicals have been selling you out. So sell out the United States interest is interesting because it means pulling the U.S. Navy back. So coincidentally, right along with the dates that are talked about, if you read, and this is a reference, Military Times, and you get the naval section, they are discussing that contemporaneously with the dates where this is supposed to happen, as per the bribe, the U.S. Navy gets instructions to back off and not have such intense patrols. So it's carried off as a speculation by the military that this is was a diplomatic move under the Obama administration to ease tension, but they said that's not a good thing. So what you find out is when you put the timeline together, this is consistent with what's in that White House tape about the president, vice president, Hunter Biden getting $100 million bribe from the Chinese to get the U.S. Navy to back off. Now, that's treason. That's not just bribery. There is no time limit on treason. And for that amount of bribery, there's a 20-some year statute of limitations. So remember me telling you when they were doing all this impeachment nonsense, be careful what you ask for. You just might get it. And this is one of the things that I mentioned back then. I said, look, they're going to get all this stuff out about the Biden family. And when it starts coming out, it's going to look like the Bidens are subject to indictment. Now, this is the other thing. You know, this is not new. They took the contents of that laptop and they've had it in front of a federal grand jury for months. They also seized some more laptops from Hunter Biden that they've returned to him, and they had the contents on that cloned on another one, and they put that in front of a federal grand jury, and they're still investigating it, so something may come out of it. So you might have a situation where you have a new president, if it's Biden, which I doubt, where not long after he's in office, he's subject to a federal indictment. But you know how that works? He ain't got nothing to worry about. Because if he gets in and is elected and that happens, he's going to resign. That'll make Kamala Harris U.S. president. He will say, I will resign, so you will become the first female president if you agree to pardon me if I do it. Same thing happened with Tricky Dick Nixon. Agnew got indicted in several states and by the federal government for fraud. He resigned from the vice presidency. That made the House minority leader, who at that time was Jerry Ford. He became vice president. Nixon said, look, if I resign, you pardon me. Jerry Ford said, sure, you got a deal. Nixon resigned. Jerry Ford pardoned him. What's going to happen if that comes up is Biden's going to resign under the cloud. Kamala Harris will pardon him. And under the 20th Amendment, the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, will become Vice President of the United States. So you will have a president and vice president from San Francisco, California, and that's enough to make you revolt just thinking about it. But see, that's his deal to get free. If Trump does what he's supposed to do, he'll push the hell out of the Justice Department to get the Bidens indicted for fraud and treason. And by the way, see, the Constitution, Article 2, Section 4 says the president and vice president may be removed from office upon impeachment and conviction thereof for three things: bribery, treason, and high crimes or misdemeanors in office. So that will be a high crime in office, that will be treason, and that will be bribery. So Biden's ass would be in a position of getting convicted of all three. But on the pain of it not being done, he would resign in favor of Kamala Harris so Queen could be the first Hindu president of the United States, female.
Okay.
And Nancy Pelosi, the vice president. And guess what? You heard all that talk on that fool AOC?
Yeah.
They're trying to groom her to be the standby Speaker of the House to get some youth in there. So I can just see that's just completely nauseating to me. Three women running the government. That just doesn't happen. That's like three women running the household, three men running the household. That doesn't work. Women, the house is your environment. You want the nest, you got it. I ain't fighting with you. Do what you want. I'll pay for it. But don't tell me where the hell to go when it comes down to we got to go get it on. I ain't following you. You can go to hell. Just take your ass back to the kitchen. Put on your apron. I'm a chauvinist. I'm a patriarch. Go take your ass back there, and I'll die to protect you. You can get in the lifeboat first with the kids, and I'll take all the sissies and throw them in the water for the sharks to eat, so they won't bother the women and children in the lifeboats. But
Okay,
it
I
is
got
what it
something to
is.
say here, Judge.
Man up Monday. Put the sissies out there as chum for the sharks. Put the women and children in the lifeboats. Man up, stand up, or sissy out, punk out, and get out.
Okay, I got a couple of things to say here now
Yeah.
about manning up now. So we got to talk about that. So today, you know, Trump is doing 5 rallies, but they sent Obama to Georgia, which Georgia's a state they probably won't win. But they're sending Obama all around the country, and they had 2 Chainz, the rapper, out there and stuff. But Trump is having 25, 30,000 people. They in Kenosha, Wisconsin now, about to have another rally, and they're going to top it off. But anyway, that brings me to Maxine Waters today. She comes out
Oh,
and
God,
says,
that woman needs to go sit her ass down or say, look, I can retire. Let me come off the 3rd floor of the plantation house where my job is to hover in the bedrooms for Massa when he gets up there and for his visitors who need some comfort before they get back out on the road. Come on. She gonna talk about black folk. Look, I've got as much black credentials as that witch does, so shut the hell up.
hey, look.
Yeah, and I like Trump. I'm voting for Trump. And no, I'm telling all these spineless slave Negroes, get their ass off the demogated plantation. They don't own you. You're a free man, boy. Walk on out the
Well,
front
we got
gate of the plantation. Tell
we,
everybody go to say, oh no, sir, I can't be walking out there. I feel this all the master. He been so good to us. Get
look.
all of that slave out your head.
Well, listen, and
Don't
I'm gonna bring up
belong
2
to
people.
anybody.
I'm gonna bring up 2 people because she said, "Black men, you don't think about your mother, your grandmother on Medicare or something like that." She was just saying that I will
Oh,
never
that's
forget.
bullshit. That Obamacare, affordable care shit is crap. My insurance premiums went up 37% for less coverage right after that Affordable Care Act went in. Obama didn't even draft the goddamn thing. The person that did it was Republican Senate Majority Leader at the time, Dr. Bill Frist of Nashville, whose family founded Blue Cross Blue Shield. As soon as they passed that, the sucker resigned immediately. Now his family is well off for generations because they're making a fortune. The money goes up. I got people here in Memphis, sisters, even some Mexican chicks who got children and everything, but they're legit citizens. They can't afford to get to get health care. But then again, they're pissed off because some illegal just got here, gets free care, unlimited care, and they can't even get it. The other thing is under that Affordable Care Act, an insurance company gets your premiums, it gets benefit of your copay or deductible, and the federal government pays them back just about every damn dime they pay out for your pharmaceutical medications. That is wrong. The
Um,
government can pay that on behalf of the citizens
we got some,
directly to the citizens instead of enriching Phil Frist families.
we got some friends in the chat. Judge, we got the lovely Queen Dana, and we got Jay Harris from San Antonio. They're both in the chat. I just wanted to let you know they.
Well, we whoopee, hello there. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't even sitting in my chair.
But look, then we had Ben Jealous, the NAACP said black men who vote for Trump are chauvinistic, patriarchal, and all that.
Yeah, I'm a goddamn chauvinist, you sissy motherfucker. Hell.
He is
And
a
yeah, I'm a goddamn patriarch, you sissified punk. Take the dick out your ass. You're the one that got that shit about putting that gay crap in that LGBT crap in the NAACP charter. Yeah, punk.
he Ben Jealous is a sissy, man.
Sissy. I mean,
Now,
I don't have anything against gays. I just think it's wrong, very wrong, that they're discriminating against all these women who like to do reversed cowgirl or who like to get on top, and they're discriminated against those in favor of the missionary position. I think that's wrong, and they need protection too, and they've been neglected so long. See how dumbass that sounds?
Well, it's
If they
mighty
keep their
funny.
ass out your bedroom, you can do anything in your bedroom as long as you're not sending somebody to the emergency room. So that's about as far as it goes. So what the hell is all this other crap where you got these drag queens propagandizing these little children? You can't even, I mean, let's be fair. This is discriminatory. I think women in thong bottom bikinis and Brazilian bottom bikinis, to offset this, should be conditioning these young 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9-year-old children by sitting there in the library in their thong bottom bikinis and reading to them. I think it is discriminatory.
Well, let me say something, Judge.
At least it'd be more fun than looking at these goddamn made up looking false harlots.
Let me say something. Now, you got this woman, Candace Owens. She came on Fox News Day and she was just saying that it looked like Trump can get 14 to 20% of the black vote. And me, she said, we're not falling for the game anymore. So I was
Well,
talking to
look. Some black people are no longer thinking like slaves. They got off the damn plantation. And
well,
we
look,
do not go for that crap anymore like these slave Negroes that are still running around with these invisible chains wrapped tightly around their skulls.
that's right. That's right. Now, the question of the whole thing is here, like, they were showing, what's the woman name? The View, Whoopi Goldberg, Whoopi and all them. They were
Yeah.
on the View this morning. They were saying that, they talking about the Trump supporters on the highway, and they say it's voter intimidation because they got their flags out in the bus,
I
and
don't
they
have a
say
problem with that.
they were riding behind the Obama back. I mean, the Harris
Oh, aren't
back.
they terrifying? Oh, they're so terrifying. Oh my goodness. They were just pissing on themselves, wetting all in their panties.
Now, the thing is, now they're saying now that so the St. Louis Attorney General Kim Gardner, I think she's getting paid with Soros money too. She the one that put the gun charges on the people for protecting their house or whatever down there when they busted through the gate in St. Louis. She's saying they're gonna make a hotline in case they feel some voter intimidation. A hotline for voter intimidation.
Oh my God. I think we should have one too, in case you get vanilla cupcake icing smeared on you by one of these ratchet little punk ass cupcakes with a rictus of a snarl on their little sissified faces. Ain't gonna do crap except sit there and snarl
Well, they
and
say, well,
start
listen,
blowing spittle at you. That's fake. That's lethal weapon, by the way. That's dangerous because of COVID-19. They may be highly effective when they get all that spit to flying, when they get to shrieking and carrying on.
well,
Very dangerous. They need a hotline for that shit.
they're here in Richmond, and I know I heard from Chicago, probably Memphis, probably a lot of cities, especially Democrat-run cities. They are actually talking about boarding up businesses right now because they fear an election day violence.
Everybody on my street has got a Trump sign up in front of it. Everybody on the street down got a Trump sign. There are some black folk driving around with Trump bumper stickers on. So, I mean, yeah, come on. And then you know something else? A lot of people have told me that they got contacted by a poll and said, I'm going to vote for Trump, or I already voted for Trump in the early voting, but I'm not going to tell anybody because it's none of their business. So I said, yeah, I'm going to vote Democrat. So you might have a thing where they try to do this exit polling on election night. And I would suggest that you check out C-SPAN or National News Network instead of Fox, CNN, NBC, MSNBC, and all of these little sissified outlets that just love to give you entertainments that aren't news, they're just propaganda. See, here's one of the problems. They're going to be putting out some deliberately misleading stuff in the beginning because when the first polls close on the East Coast at Eastern Standard Time, ordinarily, if the polls that used to close at 7 o'clock in California were going to stay open until 7, that means they would have 3 hours to be very well familiarized with the results. But California will be open 2 hours extra. So that means when the polls close in California, it will be 5 hours since the polls closed on the East Coast. They're going to try to work that to drive people during that 5 hour period who would stay home to get to the polls. But you see, the fortunate thing is no matter how many people vote in California, it's not a popularity contest. It's an electoral contest, so they will only get X number of electoral votes. one of the benefits of the electoral college is as versus just popular election. If it was on popular election, California, New York, Illinois, New Jersey, Florida, and Texas would run the country, and everybody else just might as well stay home. And it wouldn't be the whole state of Texas, wouldn't be the whole of Florida, wouldn't be the whole of Illinois. It would just be the mega cities in those locations. So the mega cities in those states would control who was in the White House instead of the Electoral College, where it actually reflects the will of the people. In other words, you got one city, Los Angeles, California. You got one city, New York, New York. You got one city, Miami, Florida. You got one city, Chicago, Illinois. You got one city, Houston, Texas. One city, Dallas, Texas. And if it was a pop vote, those urban capitals that I mentioned would control who's in the president. But those urban capitals do not speak for the entirety of the United States, let alone black folk.
Okay. Now, as I sent you earlier today, that there's been more rallies. I mean, they even having Trump rallies in Beverly Hills, California. Some of the most liberal places are even having Trump rallies, and they're not even hiding it no more. They're just out there. Like
Yeah,
they
I
actually,
know. See, but those are those people who don't want to get counted. And those are those people who are finding out that Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, Fox News, etc., CNN particularly, are trying to censor what you get. So there are articles about those Biden things that the whole world is looking at and asking questions. What's wrong with the American press? And the American press is suppressing those things so the American public doesn't know about it. But you see, that whole thing about, I promise to commit the first 100 days of my administration to getting gay rights. Okay, 6% of the population. Wow. So the rest of them are thinking, I'm not going to tell my friends and neighbors, but fuck this shit. I don't want all these drag queens reading to my kids. I don't want my kids fucked up with this bullshit in school. I got enough problems in the household without somebody trying to intentionally disrupt and destroy the traditional European family. And that traditional nuclear European family is representative of all human families because everybody's like that. Mom and dad, hopefully at home, you know.
Dana's got a question. Do you think Georgia can flip? I say I do not think so. But
Georgia is a strange place. People think of Georgia being Atlanta, but Atlanta is not Georgia. And even Atlanta has got problems because Cobb County, which is one of the most racist places in America, has a pie section of that county that extends into metropolitan Atlanta. And black folk that live in Cobb County catch hell from the racism there. So, yeah, it could happen.
yeah,
Georgia is not John Lewis with his late sissified ass.
well, let me ask you a question. Now, over the last couple of days, you see, now I had a big problem with Obama going to Flint because Flint had the water crisis, and that governor Rick Snyder, who should have been locked up for that poison water supply,
Yeah,
they
well, Obama drank the water and clowned around and went back there to make a flap, but Trump, on his executive order, sent $100 million to Flint to clean up the water supply. So stupid Negroes will talk about Obama came, he cared, but didn't do shit. But the man that sent him $100 million to clean it up so they can drink that crap again,
were Trump.
he ain't shit. Yeah, because he ain't shit because he didn't come and go rah rah rah. My job is to pat you on your ass so he can get off. That's what Obama does. Bathhouse Barry.
Well,
That's his business.
let
But
me say something about that. Let me bring that
but
up
Bathhouse Barry.
because I said I would have never.
He was known that for that through his whole
I mean,
college
everybody
career.
know he ain't nothing but a damn sissy. He ain't nothing but a damn punk.
delivered everything for the punks.
He was fucking Rahm Emanuel, all them.
Yeah, and see, here's the thing.
But
all gays are not members or so do not support LGBT.
Well, LGBT supporting Trump now. Some of them.
I know, but you see, all gay folk are not into the political aspect of LGBTQ.
Okay.
That's like saying everybody that supports the NRA is a white racist Klans member or white supremacist. That's bullshit, because a lot of conservatives don't and a lot of black folk do. So that's like association of an organization with something. You see what I'm saying? So they propagandize that to hell, and I would say that LGBTQ is actually a political party of sorts.
Okay, I got a shout out from a brother on my tab. He said that he told his mother that I had some information about Obama and the gang from the Hunter laptop, and she told me she didn't want to hear it, and she heard the people put faces on the videos and it's fake. She knows nothing about graphics and Photoshop, and just dismiss anything I share was hurtful but help, because now I know I should not waste time any more time and let the chips fall where they may. I'm sure my family has a lot of bad things to say about me in the end, but I did my part by offering to share information. Since Obama,
here's what's going on. Let me tell you, worldwide, they have had encryption experts. They have had digital experts. Forget experts. There's people who know what they're doing. NATO military forces have looked into what's been taken out of that laptop, and they say it's authentic. Nobody has photoshopped it. Nobody has faked it. That's what's real. The problem is what's on there, no person not in the government should have, especially not some crackhead who got a dishonorable discharge from the military just before he went to that company that was extorting the Ukraine. That's involved, same company through him with this bribery, this treason episode out of China. Now, I think there may be some indictments coming from that.
Okay.
Maybe. And, but ignorant Negroes, I don't want to talk about your mama, not you, but your correspondent there. Your mama just too deep off into that slave plantation. You escaped. But that was always one of the problems. Somebody got up enough gumption to escape the plantation. They had relatives that wanted to stay on it. Those Uncle Remus types. Uncle Remus was written by a guy named Chandler in Atlanta back in 1880 something. And it was about this Southern slave who was upset that the Union Army liberated him because he was so happy being a slave when he didn't have to fend for himself, that he resented being freed. Now, Walt Disney did something back in the 50s called Uncle Remus. And Uncle Remus was a live black man with a white beard. And he just moaned about he still wanted to be a slave. So he had all these Disney cartoon characters that were in the movie. And it was novel because that was one of the first times they did that. So they had a song that we had to learn in elementary school. Zippity doo dah, zippity day, my oh my, what a wonderful day. Plenty of sunshine heading my way. Zippity doo dah, zippity day. And this fool slave Negro running around talking about how happy he was as a slave because he didn't have any responsibilities. So, yeah, I'm sorry, brother, but some folk just won't stop playing Uncle Remus and they want to stay on the plantation. But a free man gets himself off of it, and every now and then, just to show the folk that assume he belongs to that plantation, said, hell no, I won't go. I'm not going there. I walked off the gate and all them. I sure don't want to walk off that gate. They's been so nice to us. They's good folk. They're good to color folk.
I was talking to a brother. Not a brother. I was talking to a brother. As a matter of fact, I told Dana yesterday, and we had a lovely podcast with her, brother Ron, and Jay Harris, as a matter of fact. And we had a podcast and we made the point to the situation. And I told Dana, you're only probably one of a small percentage, probably 6% of black women that voted for Trump. But I told her it's good to have a woman that understands perspective of what's going on, because I mean down here they talking about sorority sisters getting strolled to the poll. They gonna have a DJ probably out doing a virtual thing for the vote tomorrow. And I'm sitting there saying, I was talking to my friend the other day. I
Oh,
said,
they're so happy that they
why
got a
the
black
hell
Greek to
are
be
we
in.
making voting entertainment? Why are we having stroll to the polls, DJ parties? Oh, let's get a bucket of chicken and have a no. Just go. Just handle your
The
business.
very terms and means, methods, and visualizations that they have show they're slaves. Now, my mother was an AKA, so if she were alive and not an ivy behind the wall, she'd probably be deeply ashamed. The ignorant poor girls are talking about first time a black Greek organization has had a candidate for vice president. No, ignoramuses. White boy, bald headed white boy, vice president of the United States of America under Lyndon Baines Johnson, and presidential candidate against Tricky Dick Nixon, was a made alpha. He got made back in the 30s and hard by a black chapter. And there were a few white folk that got taken into the black sororities as allies and disguise and, this kind of thing. So, no, you're not the first, but just like Hubert Humphrey was no white boy, come Queen Harris is a Caucasian. She is a Tamil Hindu Brahmin whose anthropologically correct name is Indo-Aryan, the same Aryans that Adolf and the boys were talking about, except another lie that was told long and loudly and now believed. Aryans were not blonde-haired, blue-eyed. They looked just like come Queen Harris.
Hey,
Come
look.
Queen, and well, even Willie Brown doesn't like her anymore. He says she's not fit for the office because she likes character.
Could
He's
you ask?
telling the story that they broke up not because his wife got mad, but he found out that Come Queen, in spite of her promising various of those pictures in the Kama Sutra, she just was of low character, and that's what
Could you
I
ask
said and
Judge?
told you.
Could you
All
ask
these
Judge?
career prosecutors are deficient people. They're the most dishonest class of people you can find because they have exercised too much power too long with no accountability. They lie, they cheat, they cut corners, they have no principles, they have no integrity. Not
Okay, here's
all of
the
them,
thing.
but most.
Could you ask Judge what he thinks about our black party that P Diddy is promoting? I like
Oh,
P
that's
Diddy.
not going to work. You know why? Is this. You see, when you have a political party, you have to have primaries. Okay, who's going to conduct the primaries? It becomes part of the apparatus of the state election process. So you have to have state paid employees who are running these elections, counting the votes. And if you're going to evoke the state process, you have to qualify as an adjunct or as an arm of the state. So that means you have to have a certain amount of money on deposit in each state where you want this done. You have to have liability insurance for the people that you're dealing with, workman's comp type coverage for situations, and you have to qualify for these ballots in all of these states. So it would be almost impossible for an independent entity to have a representative selection of prospective electoral college members in every state. So right now we don't have the finances. We can't even get black businesses because the churches pimp all the money out of the black community. Not all of them, but too many of them. We're broke
Okay,
because we spend too much of it on bling, liquor, and Jesus. So it's way, way off base.
okay. Now let me ask you a question now, because I was thinking now, like you know, Biden been getting plenty of money from Wall Street, and money from Wall Street. Obama was a Wall Street puppet too.
Yeah,
But
high finance.
okay, but a lot of people don't know with Obama. You thought you were getting a liberal, but you actually was getting a closet Republican.
Well, you get more than a closet Republican. The Heritage Foundation, which is this right wing think tank, gives a report card on all congressmen and senators. And for the 2 full years Obama Tang was in the U.S. Senate, they gave that mulatto Bush bunny their third highest rating for conservative voting. And the paradox was he had the lowest voting rate in the U.S. Senate. He voted fewer times than any other of the 100 U.S. senators, other 99, besides himself. And they gave him a 94 plus. The guy that came in second place had a 94 plus plus, and the guy that was first place for most conservative had a little over 95. So he was almost your perfect conservative. So there's nothing new with him. He's a fraud. And see, the Democratic Party used to watch out for the common man, but now, thanks to the Clinton administration, they got put in the back pockets of Goldman Sachs, etc. Used to be Smith Barney. That's high finance. So the Democratic parties are into high finance, gay stuff, and they're into the entertainment aspect of things. So that's not good for anybody. They have totally abandoned the working class and the middle class.
Well, let
They're
me say
not
something about
good.
that. I'm
Hmm?
glad you mentioned that because one thing Obama did when he was now, actually, to be honest with you, the Affordable Care Act that was a ripoff for big insurance firms.
I
That's
just
all.
said that. Dr. Bill Frist of Nashville, his
Okay.
family founded Blue Cross, and he was the Republican Senate Majority Leader in 2003 when he drafted and first introduced it. He made a deal with the Obama Tang administration, and they pushed it in 2010, and they passed it without debate. And I bet you not a one of those charlatans has read it.
Okay.
Oh,
Now let me.
also, one other thing we need to touch on since we're talking about the election, this thing about the environment. Trump pulled us out, did that Paris agreement. See, he's trying to pollute the world. What he did is yes, but there's a reason. Why is that? The U.S. was having to immediately comply, but China and Russia got exempted to 2030. In other words, for 10 years, they get the economic advantage of not worrying about it, not having to do a damn thing, and the U.S. cutting back and all these people losing their jobs. And it's nice if you're a little vanilla cupcake hugging a tree to say we need to be pro environment. I'm pro environment, but I got money, and there are a lot of people that don't and need to go to work. So these folk have to sustain themselves while the folk that are telling them bad, bad, bad are driving around in the lap of luxury. So you're in luxury and you're lecturing to somebody just trying to get the basics. It doesn't work right, particularly when you say, well, let's tell the whole truth. The U.S. gets in the accord, it's got to be in full compliance right now, but the Chinese and the Russians don't have to be for 10 more years. How's that going to work out on the international field, a playing field, when it comes to economics, jobs, and prosperity or not?
Well,
It's a different occasion.
well,
He
let me say.
said he'd get back in if everybody had to do it.
Well, let me say something about that, sir, because a lot of people don't understand. Like I tell people, like that wasn't the only thing. I wanted to get back to the Obama thing, as you call him. He also was privatizing education with Race to the Top. That was a program that he took basically from the Bush administration almost.
Yeah,
And
well, it's not surprising he's a Bush cousin.
that's right. That's right. He's
So Bush only proposed, that religious based education alternative funding by the taxpayers. So the Obama Tang expanded it by 11 fold.
that's what he would. That's what he did. And black preachers was in his pocket, cooning and selling out for that daggone. Well, you call him a Bush bunny. I just call him a straight direct. Well, he might
Well,
well be
there's a
a boy.
pun on Bush Bunny. BUSH, as President Bush 1, President Bush 2. So since the Sotoro family and the Bushes hung together, and he's the little kid they used to play around with, the little monkey they gave the candy to. And by the way, that stuff you see Michelle giggling with George W. feeding her candy, the inside joke's supposed to be that's the same candy he used to feed our little monkey ass kid when he was hanging around being the one colored boy in there with all of the white oil barons and the Indonesian oil baron. He was their pet. So they made their little pet Negro president of the United States, pet African Negro.
Well,
And then it turned out through the mama that they're all related. So, it is what it is.
Something, but one of the things he said about Flint, he actually sat there and told them people, I could have drunk the same lead at 2 or 3 years old. You won't living like that, man.
Nope, not when your daddy is the hit man for the Indonesian government. And The Hague wanted him for mass murder back in the 60s, accused him of killing between 500,000 and 750,000 people. And then you talk about, well, it's Trump's fault of COVID-19. He won't wear a mask. Well, he caught it. He suffered for his ignorance. Now he's learned. But the truth of the matter is, 50 years ago, I had a course in vertebrate anthropology. That was my minor. This course was on the role of pathogens in species development and extinction events. So we were predicting.
President, man.
So we were predicting 50 years ago that there would be some kind of pathogen like COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2 that causes the disease COVID-19, because when the population density of humans got to a certain point, it was inevitable that some pathogen was going to evolve to take advantage of this opportunity. And it did. So that was 50 years ago. 20 years ago, we had SARS. Then 12 years ago, we had MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome. SARS stands for Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome. SARS was caused by SARS-CoV-1, MERS by SARS-CoV-1A, and COVID-19 is by SARS-CoV-2. So they've known about this, and everybody's been sleeping on at the wheel while this has been going on for 20 years, 50 years, and we have not put anything into it. So technically, you can't blame any of these one single presidents as being responsible. And I don't know why the American public think the president's job is to hold your dumbass hand. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to show us how it's done. Hell no, you're supposed to do that yourself. It is supposed to be a democratic republic where you're supposed to have sense enough to deal with the governance of the country and governance of your own damn self. Why do you need a president to tell you what you need to already know what to do?
Hey, Judge. Guy told me to ask you about running for president.
Too old. I would. I'd do a better job than these both. Actually, I think Trump's doing a pretty good job. You have to keep in mind, Trump is the only businessman that's been in the White House in a century.
Right.
See, the rest of them are career politicians. A businessman has a bottom line, and he can get ruthless with that bottom line. And these other folk, they don't think as a businessman. They think as a figurehead or a politician. And that makes a difference. See, Obama Tang was into high finance, not business. All right. George Walker Bush was into energy development and high finance, not business. Okay. Clinton got in the back pocket of high finance, but he had been a political officer, a state or federal employee his whole life. George Herbert Walker Bush was not into business. He was into oil development and something called paper entrepreneurialism, which is you utilize the opportunity to acquire holdings and then you sell off the assets of the holdings. You don't operate a business. Okay. Before that, we had Ronald Reagan, who was a Hollywood actor who really wasn't governing worth a damn. He just had scripts written for him and he play acted the role that they wrote for him. The role was named after him. So the people who was actually operating the government, they were somewhere else. Jimmy Carter was a submarine commander. and he was an acting admiral over the Northeast Atlantic nuclear ballistic missile submarine force for some years. Graduated first in his class in Annapolis. He was an administrator and a sea captain, but he wasn't a businessman. Jerry Ford was just a fucking drunk. Tricky Dick Nixon was a career politician and a hack, and he was a crook. LBJ was a masterful politician and then statesman, but he wasn't a businessman. Kennedy was a front off, too young to really be in the office, but he was. And what was he? He came from the background of closest to business. His daddy was a gangster. He was a bootlegger.
Well,
He's
look,
the
man.
one that character in Tom Hanks's production, Road to Perdition. He was the gangster behind that. I guess that may qualify him. Harry Eisenhower was an administrator for the U.S. Army, damn good at it, and diplomat, but he wasn't business. Harry Truman was a lifetime politician, and before that, an Army officer. He wasn't a businessman. FDR was a lifetime politician, statesman from a rich family, so he wasn't a businessman, but he did bring in people to do business. So this is the first businessman we've had in there.
Well, let me say something to you. Now I was looking at, like, they say you should be Trump's VP and all that, but
Oh, me?
yeah. Well, hey, look,
Pence and I I'm a little older than Pence, and actually, professionally, we probably have some similar backgrounds. Yeah, I think I could be VP, but I think I could be a pretty good president too, but that's not going to happen because we still are looking for a black American to be president. We haven't had that yet.
okay, brother Ron is in the chat. He said the first white member of Alpha was Dr. Bernard Levin, who crossed over in 1946.
No, it was Hubert Humphrey. Correction.
Hey.
I met Big Brother Hubert Humphrey back when I was pledging Alpha Delta 1966. He came through Los Angeles. We had to go talk to Big Brother Humphrey. He came there on a visit with Lyndon Baines Johnson.
Okay, well, I mean, that's what he says. I guess he'll send it to you.
Yeah, I know there is that, but I'm just saying I talked to Big Brother and he said 1930s prior to World War II. That's when he got made, not 1946. See, if it was 1946, that was the year my old man got made.
Well, so come think about it. I'm glad you mentioned your old man. My old man turned 82 years old yesterday itself.
Well, mine's been dead for 30. When has he been? He's been dead 33 years, 32, 33 years. Yeah.
But let me say something to you. In all honesty, I do need you to bring this up because one thing I want to touch on before I go. I sent you an article last week of Alicia Garza. She said that I feel that I hate patriarchy because I had to get my dad a cup of coffee when I was a child. I've always
goddamn lazy bitch needs to get, excuse me, lazy heifer need to have been taken to the woodshed. Yeah, she should get her daddy a cup of coffee. You no good scoundrel, scallywag, skank. What's wrong with you? You resent having to get your daddy a cup of coffee and he's supporting you.
Well,
lazy ass up and do your chores, girl.
Well,
and then who in the hell gives a goddamn? You know what she is.
She Black Lives Matter.
She's a pussy eater.
With a transgender.
Yes.
Transgender white.
What the hell do we care what a pussy eater? Isn't she the one that smears gold paint on her? Or is that's the fat?
That's Patrisse Cullors.
Oh, yeah, that's that ugly looking hippo that likes to grease paint herself gold and stand out naked with all those flabby rolls of fat folding all over everything in front of places like police stations or parks. What's wrong with that woman?
Okay. Well, let
So
me
I
say
don't
this.
give a damn. I'm a proud patriarch. I am a proud masculine man. I am very much opposed to matriarchy because the historical record proves every damn one of them is a failure, including the one some of the sisters like to fantasize with in the central west coast of Africa that was under everybody's thumb, except when they were ignoring her. So, okay, fine, great.
Okay. Well,
I'm a
let me ask,
patriarch. I am a chauvinist and proud.
well, let me ask you
BC.
a few more questions, and I'm gonna let you go. I know you've been on with Gavin, and you gotta get some rest. I know
Sure
tomorrow,
ain't Richard, yes.
but you
Go
but I just want you to talk about you know the agenda. You say man up or punk out.
Yeah. Man up, stand up, or punk out and get out. Here, let
Because
me let me here. Well, I can't do that without shutting this down. I wrote some stuff down, so fortunately on that Twitter thing, they locked me or blocked me or whatever in the hell they call it. Every time I tweet, I'd copy it and put it in my notes if I thought it was significant and send a copy of the tweet to my notes so it's on there. So yeah, it's interesting.
well, I will say this that
But
let me give you some remarks in closing, Judge. I just want to bring this up. Hey, look, man, I had a good time when I was with you in Memphis, and hopefully I'll be back. I need to come back with you. That restaurant raid was pretty good, and
we need to go shooting next time. Good
okay,
range. I'll let you get
okay,
your John Wick on.
you might be able to go shoot down there. I might be able, I might have to come to Memphis to go shooting. Um, and let me say this to you. Also, I want to bring this to you. My friend, she said you was great. He's a wonderful man, and I think she even showed her son that she met you. So that was actually a good moment for me, to get somebody else to meet you. So
Thank
I
you.
wasn't expecting
And
it, but
excuse me cussing so much today, but I'm in the mood listening to all these charlatan skanks try to down manhood.
hey, well, look, well, let me ask you a question because as I told you in your show one time, the way we deal with the women who talk about um hold on one second, dear. That's good. The way we talk about the women, right? Um,
I'm not talking about women and ladies. I'm talking about skanks that have decided to switch over to something else. They're all see that they don't have sex with you. They don't flaunt their pretty looks to make you feel better. They
I
got
was
some
asking,
other weird queer agenda.
I,
So it's what
I
they
was
do.
asking, I was answering a message somebody, but I wanted to bring about her, and I was glad to meet you and stuff like that. And we had
Oh
actually,
well, thank you. Tell her I appreciated having the opportunity to meet her. No big deal. About me, I'm just me. So one comment I want to make that upsets some people, but they need to be upset. A people is known by the nature of its men, not its women. When you think of Japan, you don't think of a damn geisha. You think of a samurai, or you think of somebody doing bonsai or playing kamikaze. All right. You
well,
think
let
of
me
an
say,
Englishman, you don't think of a stuffed up English lady. You think of an English gentleman with a sword in his hand and a pistol in the other, conquering the world or on the bridge of a naval vessel. All right.
well, this is what I would
Truth
say.
of the matter, going back a little bit further, is worse. It's more basic. If your men get your ass kicked, the conquerors come in, kill off your children, kill off your men, rape you, knock you up, and then your third generation downstream descendants, product of the original rape, they get to become citizens. So let's translate that down. If your men ain't strong, your enemies take your pussies, and you ain't got shit to say about it. So don't nobody care what you think of yourself. If your men don't have it going on, they can't protect you. So somebody will take your pussy when they want it. So if you don't want your pussy taken, you need strong men to keep somebody from taking the nookie. So
Well, let me
hence
say this.
that base, when
Let me
you
say one
break
thing
it
about
all down, the status of a people is determined by the status of that people's men, not
well,
their women.
well, let me say something about Memphis right quick. I want to bring this to you because I realized y'all they made that museum an art exhibit, not for what it really is supposed to be. So I didn't like that. But I did like the restaurant we went to. And I forgot the lawyer friend's name, but that was a great man too. I actually liked him. The brother, the Indian tribal lawyer, man, that was at the restaurant with us. You hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, the Indian tribal lawyer, he was a great guy too. But let me say something to you, Judge, because people need to contact you, man. You know, oh, wait a minute,
Yeah.
you might be blocked right now. But well, let's hope you get
Yeah.
unblocked. But
I would, the whole name, uh,
go ahead. You messing up. Um, come back in. Can't hear you.
I, I can't bring it up to look it up. Action on.
Okay. Well, but it's okay. Just give. Okay, hold on.
All right, you're
Hold
back on. I can hear you.
on. Okay. Well, the Indian tribal lawyer that you had with you was great, but I need you to shout out your information for the people that contact you on Twitter. You might be blocked, but we gotta hope we gotta get you gotta get unblocked, man. You have a lot of important information you're putting out on Twitter, man. Thanks for everything you do. You know,
Well, I'm writing a book. Let's put it that way. And the book, uh, everything I tweet, in essence, I copy and put in the book. I think the brother's name is, you're talking about Sakima Bay.
yeah, that's him. That's him.
Yeah, he represents the Indian tribes. We've got several in the area: Creek, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and such like.
Okay, well, well, yeah, I want to. Well, I hope maybe I find him on Facebook or Twitter or something because he's a great brother, and I probably need to get in contact with him. But as for you though, shout out your Twitter information.
Well, that I tweet at Judge Joe Brown TV, and I do not have a blue check. And they told me I could get unblocked if I simply took down that link that you gave me that I just said it speaks for itself and put that down. So as a matter of free speech, I'm not doing it. We all ought to petition those senators who have a committee that is probably going to wind up subpoenaing Dorsey et al. With Facebook, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. They have conducted a monopoly on the means of social media communication, and they are attempting to thwart the First Amendment as a monopoly, availing themselves of the protections of the local and federal governments to operate on the airways. They have an obligation to behave as public forums. They need their little tootsies jacked up, and if nothing else, we need FCC sicked on them, and we need the FCC protections, and we also need the Supreme Court rulings about what is impermissible. They have said you can't deal with obscene matters, but they are doing classic First Amendment political censoring of positions. That is way off the American base.
Well, it's a friend of well, you know him too, and he can. Well, you locked out of your Twitter, but you know he wants to ask you a question. Um,
And
about.
one other thing on that. People say, well, they're private enterprise. Yeah, but so are the phone companies. And don't you have legislation and regulations about phone companies? Don't you have FCC and regulations about what broadcast TV, a CBS, ABC, NBC, Fox News can carry? So the
Yep.
same damn thing about Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You just use your keyboard to deal with them instead of a VidCam. Well, whoops, you can use VidCam for that too.
Well, look, I
So,
want you to say something. Tomorrow's election day. It could be a little bit of turmoil, but I want you to give a message to the women and give a message to the men.
hey, come off the goddamn plantation and act like you have some pride and self-respect and vote for something other than those slave masters that want you working out there not to pick cotton. They want your vote, which is the equivalent of your labor, to pack the load for LGBTQ. And you have enough problems with home, family, your children, finding a man in the world not to be bamboozled by that nonsense. So, black men, go out and do your duty. Get off that plantation. You don't belong to anybody. Protest, rebel, let the bastards understand what happens when the well runs dry so they miss their water. So we need to be independent, belong to nobody, vote issues, vote candidates, and don't get your idea about something from goddamn CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS. I know those people. They're sick for the most part. They're dishonest. They want to bamboozle you, and they bend over, drop their boxes to their ankles. They get it in the rear. It's like CNN is weak tea. They take Don Lemon's ass and squeeze the juice in it, and then they take what's his name, Anderson Cooper's ass and squeeze the sugar in it. So you got weak lemon flavored, well sweetened tea, and you don't need to let them tell you what the hell's going on in the world.
Well, look, hey Judge,
And they got a right to be that way. That's their right to steal punks.
we always appreciate the knowledge and wisdom you provide. Is glad to know you're at 73 years of age. I want you to keep on pushing and Black Power and stand up for the
Power
men.
to the people. Yo,
Yes, sir,
get
brother.
down with the cause. And you need to deal with taking care of business. TCB. All right.
Black
Now I'm
Power,
out of
brother.
here, young brother. Go vote tomorrow. Show these slave owners that they can go to hell. Everybody got emancipated 1863 or 13th Amendment 1865. And some of us didn't need the damn thing because our ancestors got the hell on up, killed some slave masters, or just fucking ran away or bought themselves. So, yeah, we have been free.
Hey, look,
Except in the mind, and be brave because you got to man up, stand up, shout out,
I got a
and
statement.
get right.
I got one statement. Push back, fight back, and man up 2020. I'll talk to you later.
There you go. I'm out of here on that one. Thank you, young brother. Have a good one.
You too, brother.